Hello and welcome to another episode of Leaders Lounge, a special series under Quantum Dialogues powered by NGenious Solutions.
I'm your host, Rashi Tripathi. This series brings you fireside conversation with leaders and shaping the future of digital data and transformation. Today's guest is Mr. Anchal Choubey, a Stanford lead, trained head of IT and transformation leader with 19 years across regulated industries, including healthcare, insurance, finance, aviation, and government. He steered public-private partnership, mega projects, shaped national-scale identity smart gate initiatives in the UAE, and built pragmatic GRC and data governance operating models. Achal often speaks on adaptive cyber defense, responsible AI, and payment security, and has been recognized with honors such as World CIO 200 Legends and Titan's Badge of Honor 2025. His recent work distills industrial resilience into simple basic backup and recovery, asset management, secure network architecture, incident response, and continuous vulnerability management, turning complexity into clarity. Anchal, welcome to Leaders Lab. Also joining us, Nilesh Mehta, author and CEO of NGenious Solutions, who will take us deeper as he gathers insight for his upcoming book, Reinventing IT Operations. And with that, let's begin. So, my first question to you, Anchal, is start us at the beginning, the real moment you thought that this is my lane. Where were you and what was happening?
First of all, good morning, Malaysia and Rashi. Thank you for having me over here. It's my pleasure to talk to you guys. And of course, share my personal experiences with you. And since you started with the question, which takes me back to my career beginning, I think there's a moment with every leader or every professional which quietly crosses from career to the calling point. So with me, mine came in the third year of my work apparently, and just let me tell you a story about it, how it worked. And it was a client demo day actually. Okay. And for a very critical system we were already working for. And I was still young in those career times and in the industry. And I was sitting with all those senior folks to give the demo to the client. And we've been working on it, I think, more than 6 to 8 months. And the room was full of all senior guys from the client side, from my side. And 5 minutes exactly before the meeting, as you can expect, the core database crashed for the application, okay, for the demo environment. Now, that is not something that anybody would expect to that, but what followed wasn't a panic, okay? It was followed by a silence that time. And that kind of silence where everyone was thinking that who will move first now, okay, in the front of client, and all the boards are sitting. And I remember looking around and realizing no one was coming to the rescue. Okay. And so I walked to the terminal where the demo was connected to, and I traced the failure and started restoring the logs. Okay. Meanwhile, they were thinking that actually something major has happened. What is the cause? I started doing that in the parallel there. So it wasn't I was not the smartest person in the room at all there that time. Okay. But I was the calmest because I knew that this kind of database crashes happens for what particular reasons at times with my slight experience, what I've been working with the application. And apparently those discussions were going on in 27 minutes, we were backed up. Okay. But it took 27 minutes literally there. Okay. And that night, I understood that something very fundamental, that IT leadership isn't about knowing every answer in front of everybody. Okay. It was about creating that composure in the confusion state. Uh, Systems can fail and people can freeze. That's no doubt. But the leadership begins actually where the panic ends. So that one incident quietly became my compass there. And from then on, I wasn't chasing any kind of titles or any kind of positions in my career thereon. I was chasing the precision and the peace under the pressure. And 2 decades later now, when I am sitting here and speaking to you about that incident, that calm in the chaos situation still defines me, that how I led the furthermore digital transformation programs where It's really the cloud migration, or it was a risk modernization approach, or the large scale digital reform in the joint ventures which currently I've been pursuing on. All these things have been radically being informed and inspired by that episode with me. And that's when I knew that is my lane actually from then.
Amazing, amazing story, I must say. And thank you for sharing that. So let's move on to the next question. So, thinking back to those early days or years, what was the next big moment that made you feel you were on the right track? Maybe a challenge you took on, or a decision that shaped your leadership style?
Hmm. So of course that major incident has a big impact on my memory print there. Now after that, a couple of next milestones that really has come to me. And early in my career, I got the kind of projects that builds or break you, actually. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. I've been the part of those teams where the kind of urgency, the kind of stakes were so high in the kind of investment banking projects, stock markets, and the impact was so high in the production actually. So either it really builds that new line of the transformations or the progress, or it really breaks the whole line of the trust with the clients. Now I was a core business, it was a core business system migration that I already had failed twice in the past. Okay, and another one. And the sponsor literally said, if this collapse again, we are shutting it down. We are shutting it down actually. We are not going to take it the fourth round at all. So I didn't start with the technology that again there. I started with the truth there. So we gathered every team members, dev team, operations team, business analysts, vendors, and I locked the door. And I wrote everything that had gone wrong on a whiteboard in the previous instances. So you will not believe it filled literally 3 whiteboards there, that what has failed in the past three occasion. It filled 3 whiteboards, big whiteboards. And I told them that if we don't name it, we can't fix it. So people should know that actually what actually has gone wrong, why it has gone wrong. Okay, so if you can't understand that why and what, how you're going to give a confidence to the customer again that we are going to fix it this time and not ever repent. That's not possible, right? So then we rebuild the plan using what I still call my 3 C's: uh, clarity, okay, cadence, and courage. Okay, clarity of the goals, cadence of the communication, and the courage to say no when the scope crept. Because that's another pressure which keep getting from the client side, customer side, that now it is working. Can we include that, or can we uh, include this in this particular release? And those kind of stuffs keep on happening. So in the 4 months period, the project went live, the 40% faster than the forecast, 30% under the budget this time. But the real win wasn't the delivery actually for us. It was the dignity. Let me tell you, it wasn't the delivery, it was a dignity, because people started believing again that, okay, we are able to rescue the 3-time failures this time into success. So it's not like that all the time you see failures and the same people are working. It means the problem is with the people, problem is the process. And that's when I realized again the transformation isn't about the tools, it's about the trust systems. The trust was lacking in the team members because they have failed 3 times, and then everybody was looking them with the small eyes, so they were under the severe scrutiny. So the trust was not there with the team among themselves then. So that experience again taught me after that to lead both a project as a project manager and as a project psychologist actually, where one eye on the Gantt chart should be there, but another eye should be on the human pulse of the team. And that's what this another incident was very important from the people perspective, which I have gone through.
Oh, well said. Thank you for sharing such a valuable insight, Anchal. So, with that foundation in place, I am bringing in Mr. Nilesh Mehta to take us into operating playbook. Nilesh, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rashi. Anchal, amazing listening to the stories. And I know, as being the CEO of this company for the last 20 plus years, and how we have constantly interacted with customers and different projects and engagement, I can completely relate to what you are saying. Being a leader on my side for my company over here, I think you definitely hit it on the nail over there, right? In both situations in that way. I'm sure the second point that you mentioned we'll discuss during one of my other pointers or questions later in the game. But thank you so much for taking the time to join us again. My name is Nilesh Mehta. I'm the CEO and founder at NGenious Solutions with over about 25 years of experience in the IT industry. Just like you, I grew up from the basics, started as a developer and slowly grew up into this role. In a similar manner like you, I had that, moment of the light bulb turning on saying, yes, I am going to start my own company and become a CEO at some point. But that really, is a discussion for some other time. Coming back to you, I do have a few questions for you. Over the last 20 years, you've done some amazing projects, some really awesome implementations over there. Going forward with this sporadic and fast changing technology that has happened in the last couple of years with us, what are some of your major top two challenges that you're working with right now with all these technologies changing? What do you see as your top two challenges? Are you seeing challenges with people, with processes, with technologies, rules? Where do you see the impact from the last couple of years impacting you over there and your work?
So first of all, I think, Nilesh, I am quite happy that something what I told resonated with you. I think you are my senior from that moment because still I have not completed my 25 years in the industry. So I look forward to the people like you to, of course, that who have learned from the hard scars on ourselves actually, because we are into the generation which started around approximately 2000 dot-com bubbles and just before it, right? And then we have seen the rapid pace of that, how this industry has evolved out. And we are into that absolutely that crux of a situation where we have seen the past, we are seeing the future, we are seeing the next generation already giving a competition to all of us, and how they're really better than us, actually, to be very honest with me, okay? And every generation will be better from the previous one. Let me be very honest about it. There's nothing about competition about it. It's more about looking at what we have gone in our school days and our universities, okay, what these next generation are going through in much earlier phase. So the time of the adoption is much more faster and reaction time for them. So obviously, now coming back to the difficult question, the two only thing you asked, I think I have a couple of bunches with me today, which I have been going through. Apparently, the dual dilemma I have, if I just want to nail it, two things: AI and the people. If I just want to name two things, is AI and the people. That's what the two biggest challenge I have today when I'm sitting here. So right now I'm facing these two fascinating challenges, where the first one is the governance around the AI. Okay, everyone wants to move fast. Everyone wants to move fast. But in the public-private partnership kind of arrangements, the rules are as complex as the technology, actually.
Absolutely.
So you have to innovate within the boundaries that were written for a world without AI. And it's like driving a Tesla on the roads designed for the horses now. See, literally, this is what I experienced a bit about. We are thinking about Tesla car is the biggest innovation, the all electric, this touch, that, then holding everything from the sensor, and the road is about from the horses is running for the race for there. So we spend a lot of time designing the guardrails that are pragmatic but not paralyzing. Okay, so we are building a hybrid governance where the legal, data team, and technology team all sit at the same table before a single model is deployed. That's the first thing.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
And the second challenge is, of course, the biggest one: the people readiness. Now, there is no one such vaccine has come out to tame the people to this particular way of working. If there would have been one, everybody would have been so glad that take that vaccine, no matter how much costly it is, let's take it for my team or one person in my team, and he will try to cultivate. But AI can read the data, but a human must read the context.
Yes.
Okay, right? So the culture doesn't transform with the code here, that in our industry. That's a very different parameter and dimension we are living with. So it requires storytelling, rituals, continuous engagement with the people to understand what we are moving towards, why we are moving towards, and what we need to do, what we don't need to do, more important. Okay, so I often remind my team again that, as you must have heard with the previous members also, AI will not replace you, but someone using AI wisely might replace. Okay, so that's the condition. So the game is not about automation at all. Game is about augmentation here. So balancing these two things, policy and the people is what keeps me sharp now. And AI, and it's not easy, but it's exhilarating simply because it's where the future of the leadership is being written in the real time now, that how to manage these two different aspects of, one is behavioral side, one is the technology rapid pace of understanding the data and making it marry together to get the right alliance without any divorce on the cards. I think that's what I feel is important now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can completely relate to that. I will have one more short question for you first. Will we fix the roads first, or will Tesla fix their cars first?
I think that's again, if I just give you the counter question, if you are running a car and you have to change the tires of the running the car, what you're going to do? While the car is running, you have to change the tire of which is a puncture, what you're going to do with that car. Either you stop it or you will change
Yes.
it by on the fly, you'll take the three cars running on the three tires and change the fourth one. So it's as tricky as that, because
Yeah,
we,
I
as
agree.
I said, the governance cannot paralyze the pace, because then
Agree.
it's been looked at as a kind of somebody is a blocker rather than as a kind
Yes.
of giving you that steering wheel control that your car is moving in the right direction. Okay, race is not about again reaching to the start end point. Race is
Yes.
about reaching to the end point safely, if the driver is
Yes.
still safe or he's already dead by the time he's
Yes.
reached.
And
That's
having a
where
good
I think,
journey.
yeah,
And having a good journey.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I agree with both your points, right? Over the last 25 years, as you and I have been working in this industry over here, this has been a constant challenge with IT. IT is all about making sure how we can enable our end users, our business users, but keep our organization safe, keep the boundaries safe, right? Whether it's AI or even legacy technology, right?
Anything,
It has always
yeah,
been the
yeah,
case.
yeah.
From an IT's point of view, our job is to secure our organization, lay the foundations and say, well, we have all these tools, but it's not going to be the wild, wild west. It has to be within certain boundaries. And because of all the compliance on the legalities and all the concerns we have going on from a global business, we have to always think security first. And that applies to the thought process you mentioned. The second thing about people challenge also is, right, I completely agree with you. AI and people are super smart than most of us out there, right? Collectively, I think with the next generation, they are absolutely smart. But what people like you and me and our peers bring to the table is that we grew up by understanding what the nuts and bolts are. Our
Yes.
experiences define and help us with the context of the solution over there, right? And I think that that brings a lot of value to the table. And then while the Gen Z is absolutely smart and they can get the job done faster, having this team of experienced people working with Gen Z, building that context and solution faster is the future, right? So work together, uh, take the experience of people who have done it with their hands directly, use the tools and your smarts from the information that you have right now, and collectively win faster. I think, right? That is, I think going to be the right way of working together from that perspective. Thank you so much. Now, again, over the last few years, we've seen technology advance so rapidly over here. Systems that were literally written or built 3 to 5 years ago are almost becoming obsolete, right? And it's like, this is legacy code. We need to fix it because there's so much advancement happening over here. In your, uh, you know, work right now,
Mhm.
can you identify one or two tools that in the last 12 months that you had to deprecate because they suddenly became obsolete for you? And because these new technology advances give you so much power that you can build new solutions or gap no solutions. So can you tell us any one or two tools that you may have sunset, removed to build room for new technologies in there?
Wow, that's a good question actually, Nilesh. Uh, Now it's, let me just think about which were the tools. So I think, it's very easy to, in our kind of industry, in our kind of work, very easy to bring the things on, but it's very difficult to take the things out once it
Yes.
is already in. That's the kind of industry and the kind of work we do. And a few years ago, I remember that, and again, it requires a bit of uh, mix of everything. It requires more important thing. A few years ago, I remember that we were using 5 monitoring tools in security, 5 screens, 5 vendors, 5 versions of the truth,
Mm-hmm.
and everything was for a reason actually existed over the period of time. But we decided to remove four there. 4 things I decided to remove in that. Now, most thought it was a very risky decision. Okay, because I'm going to on the and why I'm removing. More importantly, the question was why I want to remove. And as you said, there has to be reason to remove it. And my reason has been very simple. And I always be the big advocate of bringing simplicity to the table. The more
Keep it simple.
the more simplistic we will visualize, we will think, we will communicate, the better it will come. The more complexity you're going to add is difficult is always for the end user, for ourselves also. So that's what my thought process has been, to bring the simplicity. Never been
Yep.
into the cost, never been into the cost. People were thinking initially, I want to reduce the cost optimization, I want to bring cost leadership into the picture. That's why I'm doing all this drama and the circus of removing these stuff and bringing everything together. But actually my idea was it was getting too complex already, and we were not able to leverage what we were thinking, that the more systems we have, the better we are into control. The control was getting out of control, in fact. So that was the idea behind of removing. Now, it was risky, but I knew that there was truly a risky confusion. What we did is that we unified the monitoring, integrated incident tracking there. Within a month, our incident resolution time got halved. Within a month, okay,
That's
with
awesome.
that. Yeah, and the team stopped chasing the alerts there and started analyzing the insights rather than, because they're getting the time now. Otherwise, they were spending time in tool 3 and then trying to validate tool 3 is matching the tool 4 or not. Before the scene was not there that moment, that situation. So there was a lot of hassles was going with the team, spent a lot of time in analyzing only, but chasing the alerts. Simplification isn't reduction, it's a refinement to me.
Of
Okay,
course.
the courage to remove it often harder than to impulse to add it for all of us.
Understood.
So every strong IT ecosystem grows by pruning, not by piling the things actually. And that's literally unfortunately, the technologists sometimes go against it. They feel that the more is better, but to me, less is more. That's
Absolutely.
where I always thought the different way actually.
No, the good question. Now, you one, because over a period of time, that specific tool increased the feature set that was not missing first and started growing. So you could kind of let go of the other tools and start leveraging more. Or was it because we just, not leveraging the functionality in that one properly then?
No, so I think there was two folds to that. One was, of course, we were not leveraging the existing functionalities because we didn't have that courage to spend that much amount of time to understand those configurations and to map it to the requirement, rather than thinking the easy solutions is to bring the add-on layers and that will give me the better results now. That
Makes
kept
sense.
piling up the things now, and that created an onion layers on itself. So I think that increases cost, it increases complexity, and ultimately the results were not coming what we were expecting. So that was the situation.
My last question, obviously, in this era of AI, if I don't ask you any AI specific questions, then shame on me. So I'm going to ask you this question about AI as we are all getting into AI tools. One of the things that are coming up very prominently is the vibe coding, right? Which means I can use an AI tool platform online and build smarter and faster proof of concept tools and go live faster with that perspective. You have been doing quite a few AI projects on your side. What has been your experience? And again, I'm talking to Anchal as a personal experience, not necessarily organizational or something else at a broader level. But at your personal level, if you've been testing certain tools and stuff, what has been the outcome for you? How much of does that help? Does it help you speed up POCs? Is it worth it, not worth it? What's your take on that?
No, it's a very good question, in fact, and it's a very off the beat in relevance question. I think vibe coding is one of those things which is come as a kind of boon at the moment to the industry to a point. And I've seen it in a couple of scenarios where I tried to incorporate its use cases in security side, information security, cyber security side of the things, as well as into the enterprise, not enterprise, I would say, more of a kind of B2C kind of application scenarios, I would say. Okay, not enterprise segment. I have never tried that so far. I never got a courage so far to make it successful. But my experience has been a bit mixed around it. It helped, literally, it helped ethical hackers to fast pace their attacks.
Yes.
Literally from the time, gone are the times when we were thinking about spear phishing and BC kind of attacks and the password spraying and all that. That has become so easy now. The script kiddies can easily do it now. Rather previously, it requires a lot of effort, a lot of tools, and then the testing, and then we used to do the attacks as ethical hackers. So red teaming has really become very much more easier as compared to the past. That's what one experience I see as a kind of positive for the red teams, and the blue teams also use it, but not that much successful so far with us with the blue teams. Now coming to the other side, outside security zone, uh, I have experimented and failed to a point about low code, no code situations as well. Okay, now that is another level now. So it is about for rather thinking about drag and drops, rather thinking about nuts and bolts, blocks, and now we are taking that. Okay, you know English, write it. If you can write better English, it to explain into the better in the better language. It could be French or Portuguese also.
Yep.
Now the LLMs can understand all of language. So how can you better? The more good you are at expressing yourself. So I think the people who are very good in expression, okay,
Communication. Yep.
the communication. Now you see LLM is giving you the power of speaking also, and
Yes.
speak or literally to translate to the text. So not always a communication skill about writing. Even the verbal skill is going to that level, right,
Absolutely.
where you can
Yep.
speak correctly and explain correctly, express correctly, and your applications are getting developed over the period of time, again refining. So I think that piece is more of a kind of situation where the child want to child has a toy, but he or she doesn't like the toy even though he has that possession. He just transformed this toy to something else which he doesn't or she doesn't have, and she want my parent is not giving it to me, let me transform this toy to make another toy which I want actually. So this is what the situation is happening now. The developers and the people who are trying to get something, they didn't have it. They feel with the vibe coding, let me try it, let me see that how is it looking like, let me do the POC, let me say, hey, it's just looking good now, good in UI UX, much more faster of course. And this is the kind of thing we can now use rather than for me only playing with this toy. Why don't you take my toy and I'm selling it to you, or use it my toy for whatever the fees, subscription, whatever, or you make use of it. Okay, so I think that piece of trust of using it yourself, and when I'm giving it to you now to play, I think that trust is still the weakest link still, because the vibe
Interesting.
coding is there to the moment to success to me when I used it for a small scale and the kind of projects which were having the low impact, less risk. Fair
Mm-hmm.
enough. To a point, it
Absolutely.
worked.
Yes.
But when it reaches to the point, okay, now I've tested it in all the segments, take it on and make it at the large level. Now, I think the people sit now and start seeing that, okay, now, okay, fine, fair enough. What kind of analysis we have done about it? What kind of loophole this has? Security is where? I think
Yes.
this is where I felt that still not there. We will take a
I
long,
agree.
long time still to go ahead. It's only about, yeah, try it and convert it, try it and convert it at the moment.
I agree. That's a great insight. I think a couple of things that I would like to add is, in addition to communication, it's a clarity of vision of what you want to accomplish. Right? You need to, as a designer, a solution designer, know exactly what that outcome has to be in detail, so you can challenge and prompt it, and say, these are the exact 7 things I need, and these are exactly how they should function and they should look and stuff like that. So you need to have that clarity in your mind, and from the instructions point of view that you need to give to AI from that perspective. The other thing is, obviously you still need experienced developers, programmers who can actually review the outcome that's coming out and verify if this was done properly based on our experience, our knowledge of how infrastructure works and stuff like that, to make sure it's going to be secure, it's going to be scalable, it's going to be robust. So I think those are absolutely amazing points. I believe I'm hearing that there are many large organizations around the world who are already leveraging this vibe coding internally for their
Mhm.
problems, and it's definitely something in the future. But it has to be, like you said, everything has to be taken with a grain of salt. You need to have governance around this. You need to know that what you're taking is not going to be picture perfect, that you still have to control it, you still have to review it, you still have to monitor it. So you can't just like say, go get it done for me and walk away and say, okay, yeah, this is production ready from that perspective. Especially larger organization, financial, government, security stuff, there's too much at risk to just let it go by itself over there. But over the last 2 decades plus, as we've been doing this with our companies, I think what I've heard from in the last 20 minutes, Achal, is so much that I can relate to. The ethics of how we work, the leadership, qualities that you brought together is something that we have, watched and leveraged over the last 20 years over here. Um, the the way we deliver projects, the hand holding, the making sure that honesty and truth is there between the relationship, is something that we have followed. So I am absolutely able to relate to what you've been telling, and I really appreciate those views. At a different level, knowing that I'm talking to one of the top global CIOs makes me feel comfortable that the path we are also taking is the right one. Something that the top people in the world are also taking. So thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate this time. I will give this back to Rashi, and she can help us with the closing here. Thank you, Rashi. Thanks, Anchal.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nilesh.
So, my question to you, Anchal, is what will be your advice for brewing IT leaders?
Okay, so again, I have been asked this question a bit, couple of in the panels as well, a bit times, which is the closure question to me. But I still believe that I am still learning here, very frankly. To give the advice, I can only say that there are a couple of things which I have learned with my experiences. Only I can share that, but not all the advices need to be taken with a Xerox copy for anybody, of course. I'm not an expert in everything, and to be very much on the ground situation, I have made my own mistakes. I've learned from my mistakes, and my philosophy has been not to learn with my mistakes, but to learn from the mistakes of others, actually. That's where you learn very fast, okay, rather than experiencing it yourself. So advice wise, I can say the very simplistic one: curiosity before confidence. Okay, you need to have a curiosity before you have a confidence. If I could offer one truth to all the leaders or who are aspiring to become something around, is this only: be curious before you are confident, be humble before you're heroic. Okay, technology will always evolve faster than your job description. Okay, it will not, you cannot outpace it. You cannot, simply, no matter whomever you do the PhD, you do the hell lot of courses, you become industry expert. But the secret isn't to master every tool, it's to master how to think about them. Okay, in 20 years I've been working in different scales. I have learned that, again, the leadership isn't about controlling the chaos. You cannot control the chaos. It's about creating that calmness, and don't chase the complexity. Cultivate clarity. Cultivate clarity, and that will bring that. And of course, the things will break, and they will. Remember, the systems recover faster than the trust. Again, your trust cannot be recovered as early as the systems can recover. Believe it and experience it. So the guard that trust with your every decision, whatever the decisions you are doing, in whatever the capacity you are playing your role, every decision need to be guarded with that trust factor. Because at the end of it all, technology is temporary, but credibility is compounding here. That's what I would say.
Anchal, thank you for so much for such clear and practical insights. So much to learn for us and for everyone listening. Nilesh, thank you for the thoughtful questions and interactions. So today's takeaway is straightforward. Use evidence, not opinion. Set controls that change how people work, not just pass audits, and keep the operating model simple so it actually runs every day. This works whether you are modernizing apps, tightening security, or rolling out AI. So, I am Rashi Tripathi. This is Leaders Lounge. Thank you for spending time with us. We'll be back soon with more conversations from front lines of digital data and transformation.